Thunder, thunder, Thundercats, ho! So anyway, today for review we'll be looking at the new Thundercats Ultimates Jackal Man. This is the Target exclusive. They did Lion-O and Jackal Man, but I just wanted to show off the other two figures that I got from Target last night. We had a successful toy hunt last night at Target. And we got the NECA Adventure Series, Nickelodeon, Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures Leatherhead. Stump Arena presents Leatherhead or whatever. We'll be taking a look at that. I think either next or after I take a look at this Slash from Street Sharks. I went ahead and got Slash out of the package. And I'm going to be taking these two out of the package on camera. So we're going to start with Monkian, and then we'll move on to comparisons and things like that. First of all, before I get Monkian out of package, I wanted to show how his package compares to the Thundercats Vintage Collection packaging. And I like the Thundercats Monkian packaging for the deluxe action figure, because it has such a classic look to it. It has the classic LJN little white paint splotch or whatever that is behind the figure. And then you have the Thundercats logo down here. Overall, some really nice packaging for this Monkian. On the back, we just have some artwork. As you can see, you simply have the word deluxe up here, and then the Super 7 logo over here, Thundercats trademark, and some really cool artwork from the original cartoon. I went ahead and decided to open the blister bubble off camera. It's just a normal blister bubble. Just got to tear it a little bit into the artwork and then tear it open. This little piece is separate. It says deluxe on either side. Cool little cardboard insert. And then we have the figure inside this blister bubble. I'm going to go ahead and remove him from the blister because he does have some ties and things. And I can't hold the camera and open the figure at the same time. So I'll catch you on the flip side. So here we have the new Monkian outside the packaging. Okay. He turned out really, really nice. I went ahead and messed around with his articulation, make sure everything was functioning well off camera before I ran down the articulation. I'm going to bring you in for a closer look at all the overall action figure sculpt, and then we'll do articulation. So they have a very, very cartoon accurate head sculpt and very nice coloring and hair placement. He's got this nice fur texture that's not too overpowering all along the fleshy tones of his body. And then he's got these big tufts of golden to white fur. He's got his armbands. Here's the backside with all that fur. He's got his classic loincloth. His straps with the spikes. Got this little other strap that goes across his leg. He does have this nice mace that is on a real chain, as you can see. Really well done. Nice head sculpt, nice hands. He comes with like this open clawing hand and then this one gripping hand. No extra swappable hands or anything like that. I don't know if that's common with Ultimates or not. I do think that these are still considered Ultimates figures, or they might just be considered deluxe figures. I'm not sure. I do know the price point is a little cheaper. Why is my there we go. The price point is a little bit cheaper on these than the Ultimates, and it does seem to have a little bit less accessories, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, the head is on like a ball joint, but it is hindered a lot by this hair. The jaw does not articulate, even though I thought it did. It's just got like this rubbery, flexible plastic, so you kind of can close it and open it. It looks side to side just a little bit. It is removable on a ball peg. So if you want to make customs or anything, I do believe that would fit a Motu Origins figure or a Masterverse. I can confirm that real quick. Color-wise, this doesn't make any sense, but, well, there's not a way to connect it to that body. Let me try a different body. Let's try Stealth Ninja He-Man. So, well, it would work if you forced it down, and the size is pretty accurate. So if you found like a proper body, you could make a custom Monkian. But the ball peg is a little bit larger on the Origins figures than the Ultimates figures. As you can see, they're just slightly larger, so I'm not going to force this and loosen up the head, but it would fit if you wanted to customize that. Let's see. So I guess I'll put the head back on, even though it doesn't really do much. It just kind of hinders the articulation. But anyway, the arms, they can go outwards all the way. These little shoulder fur pauldrons or whatever are of a flexible plastic, so that doesn't hinder articulation at all. They have a swivel at the bicep slash tricep cut. They have a single joint at the elbow, and they have a swivel at the wrist and a hinge at the wrist. Really fluent motion on these figures so far, I've noticed. Got an ab crunch. Actually crunch really far forward and a little bit backwards, but not really. Swivel at the waist, which that does kind of break up the sculpt. I don't know if, yeah, you can see that it kind of breaks up the sculpt when you turn them too far, but most people wouldn't be turning them like that anyway. Let's move this arm out of the way. Legs go outwards in a split. This loincloth is flexible enough to have a full-on split. There is some red residue on this leg, like glued on there. That's a little bit disappointing, but that is hidden under the loincloth, unless you're doing like the split poses or anything like that. So that's not much of a problem in my opinion. You have a bend at the knee pretty far. I think it is hindered a little bit on this side because of this strap. Let's try it on the other side. About the same. You got a hinge at the foot. Goes down about that far forwards. And it does have a rocker. That is not a super fluent movement rocker, but you always want your ankles to be tight on your figures anyway. Helps with standing and stuff like that. It is something worth mentioning that, sorry about that. There is something worth mentioning in my opinion, that when you have the Monkian posed, to get him to stand, you have to turn his kneecap off to the side to get his ankles to actually stand normal. Because if you try to turn that in, his ankles point inwards and he won't stand. It's the same thing on the other side, but it's more hidden because of this strap. So you don't have to worry about it over here, but it just does look like his kneecap is broken in half. So that's one gripe, I guess. If you have to find a gripe with the figure, that and a little bit of scuffing is the only gripes that I found with this figure. I'm going to bring in a few figures for comparison. First up, I'll go ahead and bring in the cartoon-inspired Funko 5.5 Savage World figure. There's how they scale together. The colors on this Monkian were certainly off by a lot. I do not remember him having that white little thing on his chin. Sorry, let's let that focus. I feel like this head sculpt is more accurate to how the beard was. I don't remember there being like a big chin space with a white mark like an Indian would put on his face. Like a Native American or whatever. That kind of looks like Native American war paint, in my opinion. I don't know what they were going for with that, but they have similar head sculpts. But the new deluxe figure definitely does a lot better job. Now I'm going to bring in a vintage. Well, I'm going to bring in two vintage Monkians just because I have two in my collection and I want to show both side by side. So, here's my personal collection Monkian from the vintage line. Let's put these arms down to where I can get a better side by side comparison. Sorry about that. Let's fix the camera. Here's my Monkian from my personal collection. This did belong to my uncles when they were little, but I got it when I was really, really young and kept it all through the years. That's before I became a collector of 80s and 90s properties, so my whole family kept telling me that was Beastman, and I watched the cartoon, Thundercats and Master of the Universe cartoon, and I kept thinking, that don't make no sense, the colors are off. But my whole family told me it was Beastman, so I kept calling him Beastman. Then when I got further into collecting and got Beastman action figure when they released Motu Origins, that's when I really got into collecting, is when they released Master Universe Origins. And then I discovered that there was a whole entire line from the 80s. So that was really fun to discover. And then I started collecting vintage and modern and anything that you could really release. This one does have the Battlematic action feature. This one actually does still belong to my uncle, technically. He let me borrow all of his figures from the properties that I like. So far, he has not asked for them back, so I'm not sure if they'll eventually become part of my collection or not. But this one's in a better condition. Action feature works. There's less scuffing, but there's how the face sculpts look in comparison. I like the vintage Monkian a lot. I feel like they did a really, really good job on the vintage Monkian. You can see how they got some inspiration for the cartoon, but they definitely changed the colors. I kind of like the brown color of the vintage figure, and like the reds and purples. But overall, it's a very nice figure that they did for cartoon accuracy by Super 7. Excuse me. I'll bring in a... Actually, I'll just go ahead and bring in all three of my Super 7 Vintage Collection Thundercats figures that I just got yesterday and did a review on. Jackalman's not holding his weapon at all. Keeps falling out, but here's how he scales alongside Lion-O and Jackalman from the Super 7 Vintage Collection. And here's how he stands alongside Mum-Ra the Ever-Living. They're definitely not scaled to go with each other. These are more scaled to go with like stuff like Master Universe Classics or Silverhawks Ultimates or the Gargoyles from NECA. Excuse me. But I'm going to bring in a Master of the Universe Masterverse figure to show how they scale. In this case, I'll have a Beastman because, in my opinion, Monkian and Beastman are really very similar characters, and they look super cool together. They scale really nicely together. I mean, there are some differences, but I could definitely see these fitting into the same toy line. They're definitely going to be on the same shelf of my collection. I'm going to have my Master Universe, Thundercats, Ultimates, and Biker Mice from Mars, and NECA Gargoyles all on one shelf. I have my 7-inch wall in my collection, but here's how they scale together. They look really nice, in my opinion. I do like the elbows on the Super 7 better. It doesn't really break up the sculpt like the Master Universe Masterverse does. Even though the Masterverse has a slightly better articulation in the elbows and knees because of the double joints. Overall, this Ultimate figure, focus please. This Ultimate figure turned out really, really nice, and I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Actually, here's a vintage Mumra action figure. He's one of the taller vintage figures, so I'm going to bring him in for size comparison as well. So they are very similar in scale, but the Monkian is still a tiny bit taller. But that is my overall review of the new Thundercats Deluxe Target exclusive action figures by Super 7. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below.